made a card with the cute little flower card stamp set bundle, which is one of the newer ones from Stampin' Up. It's in the current, what is it, January to April 2024 mini catalog. So I guess it's been around for a little while, but anyway, still fairly new. I'm hoping that I'm live. I feel like I am, but I'm not seeing it on the screen. So hopefully, I don't know if it's just a little delay here or what's going on, but interesting. All right, I think I'm actually live. Hopefully. Okay. At least I could see, see my hands moving around. So looks like I'm live. I just wasn't sure because I wasn't getting an update on my computer and I'm trying to watch the screen over there. So hey, Karen, thanks for hopping in, and Sally, thanks for joining. And I'm scooching my grid paper around here a little bit, trying to get things straightened out as I'm yakking away here. So this is the card that we're going to be making today. And again, it was just made with the flower card stamp set bundle, which is one of my favorite ones from the current mini catalog. And hey, see, Tracy and Carol and Barbara and Pam and everybody hopping in all of a sudden. Everybody, thanks for joining today. I appreciate you being here. So it's a quick and cute little card, just a little stamping and die cutting. And I did do some of the stamping ahead of time and die cutting because it gets a little monotonous. You know, you'll only need to see me stamp flowers so many times before you kind of understand what we're doing. And hopefully you don't have, that'll work out all right for us and get us moving through this a little quicker. So this is the card. This is the cute little flower card stamp set. And I love that it's two-step stamping. Hopefully you can see on here, this is the little greenery image or the leaves, and then these are the flowers that stamp with it, and here's the little set of flower pots that goes with it, and there's a little canopy, there are wheels, this is part of the little cart for the flowers, there's one of those little sandwich board kind of signs, good sentiments in this one too, so there's the lovely day and a happy Mother's Day, which yay, love it when we have those because we always need those in the spring, and then there's a friendship one and a birthday sentiment. So it's a nice little set. Oh, and just a happy hello as well. So kind of one of those all-purpose sets that you definitely need. So, oh, you haven't played with this bundle yet, Karen? You need to get it out. You're going to like it. So there are dies that coordinate with this as well. And also what I love about this is as per the normal with the Stampin' Up! Dies, the ones that are the open dies are actually ones that will die cut the stamped images. So this one will cut out the little flower pots. This one cuts out the little stamp set of flowers. This one cuts out the canopy. This one will cut out your stamped kind of base box of your cart. Is that what you call it? I don't know. And then this one will cut the stamped wheels and little leg for the flower cart. There's the sandwich board one. I think that's about all of the stamped images. And then you can also make the cart with just die cuts as well. So this actually cuts two pieces and you stick them together. I did this in a previous video, so if you search back through mine, you can see how this part of the cart goes together. So this one, and then there's the canopy here, and then these are the stripes for the canopy, and then the wheels. So you can make, oh, and here's a little like railing for the canopy as well. So you can make the cart without actually using any of the stamped images if you want to, which I love that about this. It's a great die set, great stamp set, great bundle. You do get a 10% discount if you buy them together during the current mini catalog. So also used the smallest circle die here from the Everyday Details dies. And if you don't have this die set yet, this is one of the dies, well, it's actually bundled with the Everyday Details stamp set. And the stamp set is very nice and very pretty, and I do love that too. But the dies, I'm just using these a bunch. So if you don't love the stamp set that goes with it, definitely get the dies because it is a great set. Fits around lots of sentiments, around lots of images. You can create frames with it. You can create die cut pieces with it. So it's a great stamp set or great die set. Definitely one that everybody should have, I think. So, all right. A couple things before we get going. Online exclusives. There are some new ones that just came out on the 5th. A couple of the items are currently on back order, so don't panic about that. The Zinnia's stamp set I know is, and I think the Magnolia Mood, and they're both supposed to be back here sometime in March, fairly soon, I think, within a week or so. And then the sequins that go with the Zinnia's stamp set, they're going to be back towards the end of April is what it's saying right now, but hopefully they'll be in a little bit sooner. So all the items are going to be coming back if they're not available right now, so just keep checking on that. Online exclusives you can find in the online store. They're not in any catalog, so they kind of come and go, but definitely take a peek at them every time you go and put in an order so you can kind of keep up on what's new and what's going on with Stampin' Up! And get yourself some of the pretty new things. All right. Let me know if you have questions about any of that. Details and online exclusives link are on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. And yeah, and all the details for this card will be tomorrow as well. And I'll link directly to this blog post tomorrow once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So you'll be able to see all the details, get a PDF tutorial, all that good stuff that you usually get on my blog post. So, all right. Like I said earlier, let's get going. All right, I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and this one is cut to about 3 3/4 wide by about 5 inches tall. And then I've got a couple pieces of designer series paper, and they're from 2 different packs. This one is from the Les Shops pack of designer series paper. It's the one that coordinates with all the little buildings and the shops. And there's a I'm trying to remember, Let's Go Shopping, I think is the name of the stamp set that it goes with, but it's in the current annual catalog, and this one actually, it's kind of mosaic tile-ish looking. I was holding it upside down. Well, I think upside down. I think you could go either way with it. But it sort of looks like a cobblestone street to me. So that was the look that I was going for when I was pulling out papers to try to figure out what I wanted to place underneath my images here. And then I've got this one, which is from the Fresh as a Daisy designer series paper pack. And there are several other paper packs that have kind of a blue sky look to them in the current catalog, but I liked this one best, so that's why I picked it. So this one is actually, it's a sheet, and it's got a bunch of white daisies down the bottom, and I just chopped the top of it off for the blue sky part. So there we go. Hey everybody, I see some new people hopping in, so thanks for joining. So the piece of Fresh as a Daisy designer series paper is cut to about 2 3/4 tall by about 3 5/8 wide. And we are just going to take that and we are going to stick it towards the top of our piece of basic white cardstock. And what I'm trying to do is get it lined up so that it's relatively even around the edges here. So, and fairly straight on the piece of basic white cardstock. Using the Stampin' Seal to adhere it. And then I've got this little piece from the Les Shops designer series paper. And this one's cut to about 2 3/8 inches. So it's a little bit shorter, 2 3/8 inches by about 3 5/8 of an inch. And these are going to overlap in the middle. And that was actually, I did that on purpose so that I didn't end up with any gap in the middle. I wanted to make sure that the white paper wasn't going to be sticking out in the middle of my project and not looking the way I wanted it to. So that I intentionally made them so that they overlap just a hair in the center. All right, and again, same thing with this one, just trying to get it stuck on so that it's relatively even around the edge, and then meeting in the middle here with the blue paper. All right, next up, we're going to stick this on a piece of fresh freesia cardstock. This is a card base. This one is cut to 8 1/2 inches by 5 1/2 inches and scored at 4 1/4 in the middle. My original card is my favorite kind of fold, which is the top fold or tent fold card. But I do like to try to show you that you can usually do almost all of my cards either way. So if you like the book fold card better than the tent fold card, you can certainly make this card with that. But my original card is a tent fold, so it opens at the top. And this one is 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2 inches across the top. So same size card front, just a little different layout. All right, then we're going to grab some Stampin' dimensionals. And we'll go ahead and stick those on the back. It is a great set of dies, Carol. I agree. I mean, it's just, yep. Both of them are good sets, actually. So the Everyday Details, I've just been using a ton on everything. So I don't know. It fits so perfectly around so many of the sentiments that I am reaching for it all the time. And I'm like, okay, stop. It's kind of like stylish shapes. To me, it's one of those good basic ones that everybody needs to have. So. All right, going to stick this to the card front with Stampin' dimensionals and just kind of get it roughly centered there. And then I'm going to set this aside and we're going to start doing a little stamping. And like I said, I did some of this ahead of time, some of the repetitive stamping, so you wouldn't have to see me do this over and over and over again. So I do have some of these stamped ahead of time. But let's start, I think, with the canopy. And this is the canopy image from the Flower Cart stamp set. And we've got Fresh Freesia ink. And, oh, there we go. And I'm just going to ink up my canopy image with the Fresh Freesia. It looks like I got a decent image there. And then we're just going to stamp it on basic white cardstock. And this piece is definitely way larger than what I needed it to be, but I do find that it's easier to give it a little space around things when I'm trying to die cut multiple things. on one piece of paper so that I've got enough room to jiggle the dies around and they don't overlap. And because I've run it through the machine before where I've overlapped dies and they don't come out the other side very nicely. So, all right, pecan pie ink. And I'm going to stamp, this is the little box for the cart, and then the cart wheels and leg. That is all one image, so that stamps together. And if I didn't say it, pecan pie cardstock is what we're stamping these in. There we go, just stamp the little box down. And how is it? Oh, no, that is supposed to be there. I thought it was a hair on there. I'm like, how did I get a hair on that? Nope, it's that way. It's the little back of the box where the little bend would be on the back of the box. All right, and then we've got our little wheel. There we go. Get that one set aside. And close up that ink pad before I stick my fingers in it. And then I'm going to grab this is the greenery image, or the leaves, basically. And I've got lemon lime twist, which we had this discussion yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. A couple times this week, people have been telling me that Granny apple green is their favorite green, and I'm like, no, that is just not the best green. Granny apple green is not nearly as good as lemon lime twist. So lemon lime twist is what I'm using on my flowers here. So there we go. I'm going to stamp 2 of those because I've got a yellow and a pink set to stamp for you. I've got the purple ones done already. I've got lemon lolly ink and the little set of flowers that fits inside the greenery image. I'm going to pull it down just a hair so hopefully I can see what I'm doing here. There we go. And they line up pretty well. I mean, there's a fair amount of play or wiggle room in this stamp set, so you don't have to, be so worried about getting everything perfectly stamped. And I remembered my chamois today, so yay for that. So I can clean off the ink in between times rather than trying to smash it onto my grid paper like I had to do last time. Then I've got bubble bath ink that we're going to stamp the second set of flowers in. And go ahead and stamp those down there. And I'll close that one up. And I had done ahead of time a set of bubble bath and a set of fresh freesia. So again, just same thing, lemon lime twist ink and for the greenery, and then fresh freesia and bubble bath for the flower images. Then I've got crumb cake ink. Can you tell I was having to get a little creative with some of my blocks just because I had a lot of things that I had to load up on blocks for this card. And we will stamp the little set of flower pots. And again, I stamped a couple of these ahead of time, so don't need to watch all the die cutting and all the stamping on that. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and do the sentiment as well, and then hopefully I can get everything cut with just a couple passes through the die cutting machine. So I've got fresh freesia ink that we're going to be stamping the sentiment in. And again, all of these images, including the sentiment, are from the flower cart stamp set. So all this stuff, all the good things are all in one set. Then I'm going to grab my dies, and I'll show you really quickly which ones I'm using. So I've got this one that's going to cut out the little canopy. I have this one that's going to cut out the little set of pots. This one is going to cut out, ooh, is it the right way? Yep, I think it's right. There we go. Is going to cut out my little cart. This one is going to cut out the wheel and the little stand for the cart. And then we got this one that's going to cut out my flowers. And then finally, I've got my set of everyday details dies, and that is what I'm going to use to cut out the sentiment. So it's probably going to take me a couple passes through the die cutting machine with this, so I'll be off screen for a second while I'm doing that, so it may take a second, that's all, because it's a lot of dies. And I'm hoping to not have to restamp anything because I messed it up. So, all right, let me take this and go over here. And we'll start cutting. All right. Hopefully y'all are having a wonderful Friday. I can't even believe it's Friday already. Oh, there we go. Stay put. And it's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. Lots of sunny skies today. Feeling a little like spring. Just a little. All right. Whoop. Slide that one over. Wish me luck. I'm going to run a bunch of these through. right, so I got most of them done on the first pass. I did put a little bit of, Post-it note tape is what it's called. I'm like, what is the name of that stuff? And where's my die set? Oh, there it is. Trying to put the dies back on the right sheet so that I don't lose track of them. All right, so we've got the little canopy. We've got the, oh, that did slide a little. I don't know. I may take a look at that and see. I may recut it, but maybe I'll just leave it and call it good. So you get to see my grubby old cutting pads because I don't replace these hardly ever. Can you tell? All right. Ugh. And see if we can get this one lined up. Come on. And the little box is here. And, whoop, maybe. Come on. Why is that not wanting to go? There we go. Okay. All right, we got all the die cutting done. So now all we have left to do is just assemble it. So I've got my little canopy here, and I think I'm going to leave it. I got most of the canopy on there. Oop, I already took the lid off. So, all right, just going to use the little Stampin' Seal and stick that on the back. And then I'm going to line this up kind of near the top of my panel here. And again, I laid this all out before I stuck it down the first time, so I kind of had a general idea of where I wanted things before I started gluing. But since I've done it once already, I figured I was hopefully fairly safe in just going ahead and sticking things together. Using a little Stampin' Seal on my cart box here as well. And I did not worry about sticking these little individual legs down just with the way I was assembling my card. I knew I was going to have layers over the top of it that were going to be glued down. So, yep, I wasn't going to worry about putting a bunch of adhesive on those because they're skinny and little and would have required liquid glue, and you know, liquid glue and I are not always friends. So actually, you know what? I'm going to scoot this down just a hair. That's right, because I'm going to, as I say that I had laid this out ahead of time, I should have done this. Scoot it down just a hair more. So when you do this, you'll want to, if you're going to add the canopy with it, you'll definitely want to kind of lay out the flowers that you're going to use inside the canopy so that you don't end up with them way up here, unless that's the look you want, you know. But I was going for not quite that look with it. So there we go. So I've got a little Stampin' Seal that we're going to glue that down with, and then we're just going to use a bit of Stampin' Seal on the back of the set of one of the sets of bubble bath flowers. And we're just going to take that and stick it so that it looks like it's inside the little flower cart. And again, then I didn't have to worry about the little legs on my canopy because they were all going to be stuck down with flowers right over the top of it, so nobody's going to know that they weren't glued down. So, oh, beautiful day in Maryland. It's actually, like I said, we kind of got spring finally here in New Jersey, and I should be knocking on wood, hoping that we don't get any more snow since it is only the beginning of March. But right now it's, you know, the sun's shining and it's a little warmer out there. So, yep, always a good thing. All right, and I see I've got a glue dot that I accidentally stuck over the hole of the little wagon wheel here. So I'm just using glue dots, and I'm sticking this on to the card front. Again, if you prefer liquid glue over glue dots, you certainly can do that. You may be able to stick this down with Stampin' Seal, but it may not work as well as you want it to. So, all right, I've got the little leg here. This I probably technically don't need, but depending on how the everything lands on the card, I thought it was better to put the little leg on there since it was done in die cut anyway, than to not put it on and have it look like your cart is floating in midair. So that wasn't really what I was going for either. So I just took a little glue dot and stuck the leg on underneath here. And like I said, it'll probably be all covered up and nobody's even going to notice that it's there, but you know, about the time that I didn't cover it up for some reason, then it would look a little odd. All right, so the flowers, when I went to put them on here, again, I just sort of did the same thing where I kind of laid them out so that I generally knew where I was going to have these land before I started sticking everything together. So I've got my little flowers here, got a little set of flowers here, and then the final set of flowers is going to go down here. So I think we're pretty safe in where I've got things started at. And yep, we're going to cover up the little leg of the cart, and I probably wouldn't have had to put it on there at all, but like I said, better to be safe than sorry. And I'm just going to use little glue dots here to stick everything down. Again, if you prefer liquid glue or prefer the Stampin' Seal, they would both work on the backs of these. I like glue dots because they're a little more movable to me. And also, they kind of give it just a little bit of kind of a little, they're not nearly as big as a dimensional, but they're not as flat as Stampin' Seal. So they're kind of a, I don't know, a third of the way in between, if that makes sense. Probably not. So, all right, so let's stick down the second set of little flower pots here. And I'm going to just kind of gently set this on here for now. I'm not going to stick it down until I put the flowers over the top of it so that I know that it's in the right spot. Because I can always move it around, and glue dots I find to be one of the easier adhesives to kind of pick up and scoot around as I need to. So, all right, I think we're good with the placement there. And then the final set, I actually stuck on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I do chop my Stampin' Dimensionals in half, so I just ran out of that row, so I'm just going to cut a quick row here in half, show you how I do that. And then we will take the final little set of flowers and the flower pots and stick those on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I do know that it drives some people crazy that I cut my Stampin' Dimensionals in half. If you don't love that, you certainly don't have to. You can use whole Stampin' Dimensionals or minis or whatever it is that you prefer. I just like the size of the half dimensionals a little bit better than anything else. All right, then I've got the tops of the flowers here that we're going to stick on. The only thing I want to be a little careful of when I'm putting my dimensionals on the back of this is that I don't get them down too close to the bottom here, because it does overlap the flower pots just a hair. So you want to make sure that you keep those up towards the top a little bit as you're putting things together. And there we go. Sticking that one on. And then I've got a little bit of linen thread, and just going to tie a bow here. Hopefully, do the little rabbit ears, cross them over one another, and then pull it through the loop. That allows me to kind of adjust the size of the little loops for the bow, and I can always cut the ends off if they're way too long, but yep, it's a little more difficult to add to it. Not that you can't, because I've done it before. But, all right, I'm going to grab another glue dot, and I'm going to stick that to the back of this little bow, and then we're just going to stick it to the card front, kind of right here over the top of the flowers. And I'm going to trim off because those are way too long on the end here, and whoop, trim that one off, get that out of the way. And then I've got my sentiment already stamped and die cut with the Everyday Details stamp, or Everyday Details dies. And because, again, I've got this little bow in here that's going to leave a lump if I accidentally stick a Stampin' Dimensional on the top of that, I'm actually going to put my dimensionals right around the bow. And this is one of the reasons that I like the half ones, is you can basically use one Stampin' Dimensional to stick this down, but it holds it down like two. So peel off the backings on those, and then just going to stick the sentiment right over the top of the flowers. And then the final little piece that I added on was a couple of the brushed brass butterflies. I thought they were really cute with the little flowers, and thought they worked well with the flower cart, and the sentiments and the images and everything else in here. So I'm going to take one little butterfly, and put them up towards the top, and then another one, and put it on the little flower. So they're floating around there on the card front. And those are some of my favorite embellishments because they're flat, which I love that, and they mail really easily. The inside of the card I kept pretty simple. If I can find my sentiment, I have a lot of things loaded on blocks right now. So I've got Fresh Freesia ink, and the sentiment again is from the Flower Cart stamp set, and it says happiest birthday to you. And I'm going to try to get it lined up fairly straight here on my grid paper so that hopefully I'll get it stamped fairly straight. Not always a guarantee, but it helps me a little bit when I put those, put it on top of my grid paper straight. Then I've got a couple of, there it is, greenery image, and this is some of the little flower, or one of the other little flower pots from the flower cart stamp set. And I started actually with stamping the greenery first on this one because placement mattered on it. I wanted to make sure that everything ended up under the sentiment. And since the greenery was actually the tallest piece, I wanted to make sure that I stamped that first. So hopefully I'll get it on here straight and somewhat centered. And again, that was Lemon Lime Twist ink. Then I'm going to grab Bubble Bath ink for the flowers. And we're going to ink the flowers up and fit those right here in between the greenery. And then the final little image on here is just a little tiny flower pot. It's just a single one. And we're going to stamp that in crumb cake ink. All right. And I think we'll kind of tuck it up here. Relatively straight. Probably, I know it's not perfect. We'll call it good. All right. Then I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal, and we are going to adhere this to the inside of the card, and we're going to be all done with the card for today. So I appreciate you all being here and spending part of your Friday with me. I look forward to doing another video with you next week, Tuesday, around 2 o'clock Eastern Time here on YouTube live. And then I'm actually going to be gone to Houston to the Stampin' Up! Onstage event on next week, Friday. Actually, I leave on Thursday, so I'll be gone for the weekend to Houston. So I will not be live next week, Friday, but I'll be back the Tuesday after that. So have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy your day. Hopefully it's sunny and happy where you are too. And yeah, you definitely need the flower cart stamp set bundle. Just get it and then you won't be sad. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Again, all the details for this will be posted on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I will have a PDF tutorial with all the details written out, all the cardstock cuts, all of the links to all the products that I used and all that good stuff as well. Let me know if you have questions on anything. I will chat with you all soon, and we'll see you on Tuesday.